This episode is powered by Poddecks. Poddecks are the hottest new tool for podcasters looking to have more meaningful conversations or gamify their podcast. Simply shuffle up, ask a question, and let the content roll. Get yours today at poddecks.com and use code TEAMCHLUY for 10% off your order.
You're gonna put Cambodian food on the map.
My name is Janie. I'm 29. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm a cocktail server. Vegas nightlife is its own world. I get to make sure people have an amazing time. I love my job, but wherever I am in life, something always brings me back to food. I use a lot of lemongrass, so gotta keep that stocked. I'm Cambodian and Vietnamese, so a lot of lemongrass, kaffir, lime leaves, a lot of turmeric. As a Vegas vixen, I'm gonna make sure my food looks as good as it tastes.
Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Chluy Talk. I am your host, Hella Chluy. Today we got a very special guest, but before I introduce her, I'm going to roll the intro. Welcome to Chluy Talk. So today's guest is Jannie Lam. She was on MasterChef season 9, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she was also Miss Cambodian as well as Miss Asian Global.
So it's Miss Asian Las Vegas and then Miss Global Cambodia.
Oh wow, awesome!
Yeah.
And that was like in the last couple of years too.
Yeah. For my Miss Asian Las Vegas title, I held my title from 2018 to 2019. And then with Miss Global Cambodia 2019, and until we choose another person to compete again.
Yeah, so I don't know how I stumbled upon you, but I think I was looking for, while during this whole quarantine thing, I wanted to learn some Khmer recipes so I could cook at home, because prior to that I didn't know how to cook at all, like Khmer dishes. So, and you popped up on YouTube as I think it was either Yahan or your Sachika. The beef skewers. So then I subscribed immediately because just something stood out about your quality, the way it was shot, and step by step is easy to follow. So I'm like,
yeah,
wow,
it's really
awesome.
funny. It's really funny because a lot of the Cambodian recipes growing up, I felt like it was super hard to make and it was complicated. And then when I started learning how to cook and making it myself, I was like, oh, it's actually pretty simple. And even my sister who watches my channel says, wow, you made it look so easy. And I'm glad that it's easy to follow. That's great.
Yeah, it's so cool. And then I found you on Instagram and we became friends and the rest was history. Then I later found out you were on MasterChef. So I was kind of late to the party. No, I was mad. No one told me. And usually when, especially in the Khmer community, someone's on TV, they'll be like, Ma, do you see, MasterChef? She's on Fox, That's usually how we do it.
I don't know. Maybe it's not that much, it's probably not a popular show when it, with Cambodians, huh?
I mean, I don't watch a lot of TV, but my friends do. So I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I might have just missed it on social media. I'm pretty sure people was talking about it.
But I mean, the other thing is that I wasn't on the show that long either. So maybe that's why it was a brief, short-lived thing. So
well, at least you was on it. So I definitely want to talk about your experience on that. But
yeah,
but before that, I definitely want to just get to know you on a personal level. Where you from, where you grew up and stuff like that, and how it was your experiences growing up in Oakland, right?
Mm-hmm. So I grew up in Oakland, born and raised. My family is super small. Let's see, it's probably about, I can probably count us in maybe 2 hands. So that's how small we are. I grew up in West Oakland and we lived in pretty much the hood. I went to private school though, because my parents didn't trust that I go to public school because they were afraid that I would be influenced to cut school and all these things. So they made an effort to make sure I did well in school and everything like that. Some of the things that I struggled with growing up mainly was being bullied. I was bullied most of my childhood and it was just really hard. All I wanted was to just fit in and everything like that. But it didn't matter what I did. They would make fun of me or torment me and, list goes on. And it wasn't until high school was when I finally, made friends that accepted me for who I am. And then, things were happy from then on. And it's funny because in high school, I ended up becoming kind of popular, I guess, because even though it's not, I don't think it's a big deal, but everyone always says well, you were prom queen and all these things. So,
that's awesome.
It, for high school, I did a whole 180. So that was cool.
So you were bullied a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And was it middle school or elementary?
It was in elementary and middle school. So when I was younger, my dad used to dress me. So he would he would dress me in like boy clothes. And then I remember one of my like memories was like, kids or girls saying, I don't want to play with you because you wear boy clothes. And, or like, I think sometimes my clothes would just be smaller than me. Like, I think my pants would be, high water, or like I wore Payless shoes, and I got made fun of for that. So, it's just funny because when you think about it now, like, do kids even like care about what kind of shoes you wear and whatever? Right. Like, I don't know. Like,
dude, I wore
Payless. What do kids care about these things?
Yeah, I wore
But
Payless
that's what I mean by when I say like, I think it didn't matter what I did. I was just the target of like, getting made fun of. So it didn't matter. Like whatever it was, they just pinpoint that and make me feel bad about it. Like another thing was, I used to get made fun of for my lips being too big. And it's like, well, now as an adult, like, it's great. And, right. People are like paying for injections. So how about that?
The Kylie Jenner lip kit.
Yeah. Like, it's just funny, like what you get made fun of as a kid. And then, so yeah.
So did it have like a lot of like a mental toll on you? Like, how did you deal with like the bullying and stuff?
Definitely. It definitely took a toll on me mentally because like I said like before, it's really hard to talk to my parents about this too and be like, oh, kids are bullying me at school, or how do you even tell them that?
Right.
And then, I think with my parents too, they're all about tough love already. So I feel like to them, they don't really understand. And plus we grew up differently, like my mom's always like, well, when I was 8 or when I was 5, I was already, getting water, making rice, and like selling stuff at the market to like raise money. Like, it's a different struggle. And so it was just really hard to even express like how I was feeling. So I kind of just bottled up to myself. And I'm not going to lie, like there's a lot of times, I think in middle school was when it was the worst, where I actually had a lot of suicidal thoughts. I remember, and I don't really talk about this a lot, but I remember, writing in my journal and all that stuff like that, hating my life and, wishing to die every day, hoping that I get hit by a car or like, some freak accident because it was just that hard. And I mean, as an adult now, like, I'm so grateful that I stuck it out and that I don't know where the strength came from, where I, took it a day at a time. And then, finally in high school is when things just turned around and it was all great from there. But thankfully, like, I'm so grateful that I never, took my own life or anything like that, because then it would be devastating for my parents and for my family. Right. But it's the reason why I'm also very like anti-bullying and I advocate it and all that stuff like that. And that was one of my platforms during my pageants because that was something that like I experienced myself.
That's powerful. Yeah, I definitely think that's important. So definitely appreciate you telling me about your, growing up and stuff. And stuff like that's hard to, talk about sometimes, but like definitely, it's important that, maybe like people that are viewing, they go through the same thing. And it's good to hear from someone that's been through it and overcame it and stuff.
Yeah, and I'm always, I work a lot with one of the organizations I work with is Kyler's Kicks. And the story behind Kyler is he's a teenager. He was 13 when a bully stabbed him and stabbed him in the chest. And then he suffered a lot from PTSD. And so to help with his anxiety, he would give free shoes away to the needy. So then he would collect all these shoes, hand clean them, and then give them out. And so over the past couple of years now, I work not that closely anymore now that I've moved, but I still try to donate when I can. I bring in shoes and, I put him, actually introduced him to my friend who owns the Lave Gallery, which is a sneaker cleaning boutique in Vegas. And so with their help, people can actually just donate the shoes at the Lave Gallery where they actually clean it there and then he just picks it up. So that's something that, I try to do to help out in that realm.
Thank you for sharing that. Do you have siblings or are you like the only child?
I do have siblings. Well, I have a sibling. I have a younger sister. Her name is Wendy. She's 3 years younger than me. She still lives in the Bay Area and we talk here and there. I mean, we're siblings. We talk every day. Other than that, no other siblings. I have like maybe, can I count how many cousins? I have 4 cousins. That's it. Like I said, my family is really, really small. Yeah.
Wow. So, you lived in Oakland until high school, and then like, what brought you to Las Vegas?
So I lived in Oakland all throughout my life until high school. After I graduated high school, I actually moved to Long Beach for college. And then from there, after I graduated, I moved over to Vegas. And there wasn't really any reason why I went to Vegas. It was more like I saw an opportunity. I went and interviewed for a job there. And then I got hired on the spot, and I literally got a phone call. I think it was on a Tuesday in the week. And then literally the same day I called a friend of mine, or not a friend of mine. I didn't know him yet, but he was a friend of a friend. And I was just kind of like, hey, I heard you have a room that you're renting. Like, can I move in on Thursday? And I literally packed up all my stuff, drove out, and then the rest was history. I've lived in Vegas the past 9 years. And it went by so fast.
Okay, so you only lived in Long Beach for your college years, right?
Yeah, so I lived in Long Beach for 5 years. I stayed an extra year. So yeah.
How'd you like living in Long Beach? That's like one of my favorite places to visit because of the people, the food. Just
Honestly, I love Long Beach. Like, I love the campus. When I was doing my college tours before deciding where I wanted to go, I fell in love with Long Beach. And I fell in love with the diversity. And I actually broke a pact with my friend because we made a pact to go to the same college. And I kind of broke it because it's like, I really want to go to Long Beach. I'm so sorry. And I went to Long Beach. And I think what was really cool about it is that it's right next to the beach. And another thing that I love was the abundance of Cambodian food. So it was like, I didn't really need my mom to make me anything. I could just go to, my favorite Cambodian restaurant was Sophie's. And so I would always go there. And then I would go to like the little markets sometimes where they have like the prepackaged like stuff, and you could just buy that and put it in the fridge. Yeah. So it was lovely.
Yeah. I was about to ask you, what was your favorite go-to spot as far as Khmer restaurants there? There's just so many. Like, I've never had bad Khmer food out there, period.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think I really ventured off and ate anywhere else besides Sophie. I just love Sophie's. And it's funny because anytime I go there, I don't even think the lady knows my name, but she recognizes me. And no matter, I think I haven't gone in like a long time once I moved to Vegas. And the random times that I would show up, she would be like, oh, you want a plea of salmon? And I'm like, she still remembers.
That's good. That's like the rapport that you have with her. She just knows.
Funny because I try to ask her so what goes in here, and try to so I can learn how to make it myself. And she was like, oh, I don't know. We have a chef in the back who does it. I don't know how to make it. And I was like, she's smart. She wants me to keep coming back.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Which leads to the question, when did you start, when did you develop a passion for cooking? What age, or when did you started wanting to cook?
When did I develop a passion for cooking? Well, I don't think I realized I had a passion for cooking until I got on the show, because I started cooking at a very young age. I learned from watching my mom, my grandma cook in the kitchen. And then I kind of just got in there and try to play around and experiment. But I also as a child, in between cartoons, I caught myself watching a lot of cooking shows on PBS. And I think I learned a lot of techniques from that too. And I don't know, and that's the other thing, I was always good at it, but I never saw it as a career. I never saw it as, anything bigger. And when it came to MasterChef, I only did it because my sister sent me the audition link, and she's like, you should do this. And I totally ignored her. And then a couple of days later, she's like, so did you fill it out? And I was like, no. And she's like, come on, you should do it. I think you'll be great. And I was like, fine, whatever. Filled it out, left it alone. Didn't think I would get a call, didn't anything. And then out of the blue, I get a voicemail. When a unknown number calls you, you just ignore it. And then
I never. It could be, I'll be might be the bill collector,
I didn't answer it. And then I get this voicemail that says, oh, my name is so-and-so from MasterChef. I saw that you registered and whatever. We noticed that you live in Vegas, and we're wondering if you're going to be coming to the open call. If you are, please give us a call. We want to make you a VIP. And I was like, whoa. And it's just so like surreal. I remember I was in Reno with my best friend and I was like, oh my God, MasterChef called. And she's like, what? And then like, she goes, call back right now. So yeah. And then I called and then went to auditions, did the auditions, didn't think I would make it that far. And then all of a sudden I'm in Japan on a vacation. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, we need you to come to LA. And I was like,
Wow.
what? And they're like, well, it's up to you if you want to come or not. And I'm like, okay, well, this is like an opportunity of a lifetime. Literally booked my flight back the same day I got off the phone with them, hopped on a cab and flew back to LA, went to Vegas, grabbed my things, went back to LA. And I was out there for 2 weeks. Filming the interviews and all those things and just preparing for the show. But it was a crazy experience to go from, top 78 to top 43 and then be on TV. It was just an amazing.
What was that whole experience like auditioning and like any crazy stories or like?
So I didn't know what to expect. And I honestly thought, okay, it's a cooking competition. I'm just going to be cooking. Right. So I didn't know that I had to be like on all the time, like super energetic and like, and kind of play into this character that they tell you and all these things. And all of these people who were there, like one guy was like, oh, I don't know how to cook. I did a crash course on cooking just to like be on the show, but he had this personality. And there's just so many different people that you meet and from all walks of life, I honestly felt like a lot of people were threatened by me because maybe I stood out, maybe because I'm like pretty or whatever. And everyone was like talking about me. And I was very friendly. I would go up to people and I would just be like, oh, hi, I'm Janie. I haven't met you yet. And this and that. And I remember one girl was like, I've heard. And I was like, what? Okay. And then she goes, I heard about you. And I was like, okay. And then like the guy who stands next to me, good things, I hope, like trying to be like, funny about it. And then she just rolled her eyes and walked away. And I was like, what the hell? And then later on, a different person approaches me while we're sitting in the courtyard at the hotel. And he's like, hey. And he's like, what's your name? Oh, what's your ethnicity? And then before I can even say anything, he's like, oh, like Cambodian? And then I was like, yeah, I know. And
he just took a wild guess.
Yeah. And he goes, oh, we've been talking about you. And I was like, what the hell? So yeah, I don't know. It was just interesting. So I kind of felt like people were being mean and people were like being catty and all that stuff. But I get it. It's a competition. Right. And you kind of have to psych out the competition too. And I was over there probably naive, trying to be nice to everybody. So yeah. But overall, like, it's interesting to see the behind the scenes of things. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say half of things, or I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it, but, and I don't even know if the show is still around, but, and I don't know if they just do this for the first episode, but the ingredients, they stick it strategically and then they go over it with you before they film, like, yeah, here, this is where we put it. So, like when you're turning around to grab things, it's already there. Just plant it in the other ingredients. So yeah, but I don't know. Hopefully I don't get in trouble with that. But yeah, like that's
hopefully not
some of the things like TV wise and how, one episode takes like a week and a half to film and they just edit it,
Right.
So yeah.
So were you like hella nervous or like what was going on in your head? Like was it all fast paced or like how do you just gotta like turn up for them or like
I was literally like, I was full of anxiety. I had so much anxiety. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I was always like nervous. And then like, I don't know, like I definitely like looking back on it, I was like, okay, it wasn't myself. My personality didn't come through. And I was just the quiet one, And it's funny because I was walking in the hall and I heard someone like talking about me and they're just like, yeah, like, I think she would have probably made it if she would just been more vocal. And so I'm like, great. And I was like, no, that was probably a main reason why I also didn't get chosen. But I also think that another reason, which is a big reason too, is I didn't really play into the character that they built for me. And I think it was also the reason why I got casted because they wanted me to be the flirty girl from Vegas. And that season, it was different people from, like I said, all walks of life. So my roommate, she got an apron and her name was Lulu. She was the bus driver from Atlanta. I can't remember because she always switches where she lives. So she was a bus driver. There was a fireman. There was, the guy who overcame cancer, who became the cyclist. And then there's, the girl with the attitude. And then there's the mom. And then, there was like all these different types of people. And so they had like a specific like role for each person. And here I come in and then I don't want to do what they asked me to. So they're like, all right, you're done.
Yeah.
Which is what ultimately is what it is, because if you watch the episode, there's, a guy who serves raw lamb and he gets an apron. Like, how is that possible? And then wow. It just sucks. But, like I said, it's a reality TV show at the end of the day. So they want ratings and they want you to do what they say.
Well, I'm glad you stayed true to who you are. I think that's important. Definitely, But what was it like meeting like Gordon Ramsay? Was he? Did you meet him beforehand, or were you just on the show? Or...
So I actually met Gordon Ramsay at work when I worked at the Wynn, and I remember that night he came in, and I was like super starstruck, and I was literally the only person who even cared. And everyone's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "It's Gordon Ramsay. It's Gordon Ramsay," and they're like, "Oh my God, it's just Gordon Ramsay." And I'm like, well, what am I going to do? I was like, I got to find a way to talk to him. They're like, well, just go give him a drink. And I was like, but how? And they're like, just do what you normally do. And so then I like waited forever because I'm like trying to muster up the courage because I'm like, oh my God, what he's mean. And then finally I saw an opportunity. So I was like, oh, would you like me to top your drink off? And he was like, oh no, I'm fine. I was like, oh, okay. He's like, but I'll take a water. I was like, all right. So I went over, got him water, gave it to him. And then finally I was just like, I just want to let you know that I really admire you. And he's like, I'm just a chef. And I was like, I know. And he's like, what did he say? He's like, what's your first name? I go, Janie. He goes, Janie, where are you from? I go, well, I'm from Oakland, California, and I was like, I live here now. I'm Cambodian. And he's like, Cambodian. Oh, Cambodia. I lived in Cambodia for 6 months. And I was like, yeah, I know. I watched you cook for the royal family and all these things. And he looked at me so surprised, like, whoa, this girl knows. And then he started to talk to me a little bit more. And then I was like, okay, I got to go back to work. So I'm like, and I was like, I'll be right back. And I like walked off. And then I got so busy that night that I never came back to talk to him. And so they actually had me mention that whole like conversation to him on the show. But when I mentioned it was when I was cooking at the same time and like talking, that I didn't even say this whole story the way that it happened. I was just kind of like, yeah, I gave you water.
That's it? That's the edited version?
Yeah, and it was just like, wow, that was so lame. And it's because I, like if you watch the show, I have 30 minutes to make my dish. Where I'm over here, like, just flying the side by itself, like that takes a long time and cutting it up and everything, like chopping up the lemongrass and everything like that. So I'm over here just in the zone. So when they would ask me questions, I would be like short with my answers and I'm like, back, And then, yeah, I mean, at one point I didn't think I was going to like cook it in time. Like I literally put the meat onto the grill with, I think 10 minutes left. And I was like, oh my God, I pray to God this cooks. And honestly, because it was skirt steak that I knew I could serve it kind of mid-rare and it would have been fine. But yeah, it was very nerve-wracking.
It looked good to me. I was just watching it. So I don't know. It's like you said, it was like for like TV, like it's like kind of a bougie show. They want presentation and.
Oh yeah. It's like, so the whole rule is the plate has to have a star. And then it has to have a sauce, and then it has to have a texture element, like, a crunch and whatever. So like you have to like keep all of those things in mind.
Oh, they say the churot had a crunch, right? The churot?
Yeah.
That's like
no, but that's the thing. I don't know if that part got aired, but Aron Sanchez was when he tasted it, he was like, oh, it's very flavorful. You get all the aromatics coming through on all those bold flavors. And he goes, and your quick pickle, or he goes, really goes well and ties the whole dish together because it just, complements the dish. I think the other two judges, had a problem with the meat being a little on the sweeter side, but that was because I'm cooking so fast. And I remember trying to squeeze the honey, and it's a brand new bottle. So when I went to squeeze it, it was like, And I'm like, so I scraped as much as I could. And so I think it was like pretty on the sweeter side, but then, with the truth, it would have been perfect. And I don't know if they ate everything together. And then what I could have done to fix that problem was just throw some spice into it to balance that sweetness or whatever. But, I wasn't thinking at the time. My mind was all over the place.
And you only get like a certain amount of time, right? Like, would you say like 30 minutes or?
Yeah, it was 30 minutes. 30 minutes to make the dish. And we get to like practice, I think, a couple of weeks before. And that's the thing too, during the audition process, in preparing for the show, they tell you to practice at least 5 dishes in 45 minutes. And I sat up here, I bought a timer, and I was like, and then just even grabbing the pots and pans and cutting boards and everything, I timed it within the 45 minutes. It's like the fastest I ever cooked in my life. And it's so stressful.
I bet. It looks stressful. Like, it's so fast paced on TV.
Because I feel like cooking is therapeutic,
yeah.
You want to enjoy and kind of relax and whatever, take your time. But in the competition, you're like, what do I need? Oh my God, what am I forgetting? It's just crazy.
Yeah, so I salute you for making it on there. And how'd you feel when you you didn't get the apron? Did you have any regrets, or did you feel like you did what you did everything you could?
I think I definitely felt like I didn't do all that I could. Just because, like I said, I didn't feel like my personality shined through. I didn't feel like I was vocal enough. I feel like there's always room for improvement. Of course, I was devastated. I really saw myself making it through and getting an apron and everything like that. And it's just funny because I was so nervous and so full of anxiety that even when I didn't get an apron, I just shrugged. And I was just like, okay. And then as soon as I walked off the stage and went into the holding room, I just bawled my eyes out, and I was so sad. And I was like, well, where was my emotion then? It was frozen. And then, they also have a psychologist come talk to you, make sure you're okay and all that stuff. And then you continue on filming. And then after that, you pack up your bags and you leave.
Wow.
But I made a lot of great friends that I still talk to this day. And some of the, the people who were part of the crew too, they're great that they follow me, and I follow them on Instagram. And one of them, I was like, oh, I think I was just making small talk. And he was like, yeah, I'm an actor. And I was just kind of like, are you one of those people who say that because you're in LA? And then I should have Googled him, but I didn't have my phone because they take our phones away. But it was so funny because I started watching All American, the show on Netflix when quarantine first started. And I was like, oh my God, that's Kareem. That's the guy from, he was one of the PAs.
Oh, wow.
And it's so crazy because now he's on all of these things. And now I was watching his reel, and I'm like, oh my God, he was in everything. Literally everything, all the crime shows, movies, and all these things. And I was like, wow, he really is an actor.
And he was in the show too, the MasterChef?
No. So what he did for MasterChef was he was one of the PAs. So he was the person who come and grab you and tell you where you gotta go and whatever. So I think that was just what he did on his downtime. But wow. I was just like, wow, this whole time. But that's what I mean. I met a lot of cool people.
Thank you for sharing that whole story. I think it's still pretty dope that you're on there. So yeah, well, let's talk about your pageantry. When did you get into that?
So my pageantry stuff, when did I start? I started with Miss Cambodian American, which was in 2016. And I don't remember how long the pageant was around before I started, but I honestly just saw it on Facebook when it was this ad. And then I was like, what do I have to lose? Let's try it out. So I just filled out the application. And this was in 2016. So this is actually before my MasterChef journey. Oh. And, the pageant was in Lowell, Massachusetts. And I had to fly out there and then be out there for a week for all of the different events and stuff like that. And then I think all of us came from different places. So a girl, I think, was from Long Beach, another girl from Seattle, then there was me, and then another girl from like Stockton, and then another girl from the Bay Area, and then like a handful of them that were already in Lowell. And then I actually didn't place at all. And then end of that. And then I got approached to do Miss Asian North America. And I was like, no, I'm done with pageants. I'm not trying to do this. And he was like, come on, I think you have a great chance. I'll sponsor you and all this stuff. And so I was like, all right, fine. What do I have to lose? And so then I go through with it. And then I ended up placing as Miss Asian Las Vegas. And then did a lot of volunteering and all that stuff with that. And then from that point on, I got approached to do Miss Global Cambodia. And then I just competed in the Miss Global pageant earlier this year. So in January, I was in Oaxaca, Mexico, competing. And then after that, what am I doing now? I moved to Texas. Still trying to figure out what my next move is, because I am getting let go from my job, not because just me, but like as a whole, because, with the pandemic and everything, they are doing a lot of budget cuts. And, in Vegas, the whole thing is, we thrive on tourism. And so not a lot of people are going there. So, there's not a lot of business. And so they have to kind of cut some stuff out. And my department was the events and nightlife department. And so I did sales and marketing for them. And, with the events and night department, we do all the nightlife stuff, the lounges, the clubs. And we have some restaurants, and we have the supper club, because they're having the food and beverage team run all of our venues. They kind of don't have a need for us. And so now we're all just like, all right, well, what are we going to do? So actually a lot of people from Vegas are moving here too. So we'll see.
What would you miss most about Vegas?
What would I miss most about
living in Vegas?
I mean, I think I miss definitely my friends, because my friends, in Vegas are pretty much my family. Another thing I miss about Vegas is the good food, like the great food. I mean, there's great food in Austin too, but I haven't found all the Asian spots yet. What else would I miss about Vegas? No traffic, the hockey games. It was just always something happening in Vegas, but now it's like, there's no shows. There's, it's things cut in half. So that's the main things that I would miss about Vegas. Cost of living is a lot cheaper too.
Is it? So would you say Austin, Texas is more, or is it the same?
I'd say Austin is a lot more expensive than Vegas for sure. Because in Vegas, I think what I pay for rent here would be a mortgage there for a nice house. So yeah, but that's the reason why a lot of people from California move to Vegas, because of the cost of living. And then it's just close, so they can always go back and forth and visit family and stuff like that too.
Right. It's like a 4-hour drive or something like that? Cali to Vegas?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like 4-hour drive if you're going to like LA. And then if you're going to the Bay Area, it's actually 9 hours. I did that drive before. I hated it.
Wow.
It's just so much easier to fly when it's like an hour.
And flights are cheap too, right?
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, like $60 maybe.
Oh, that's dope.
Like one way. So yeah.
I got the whole order wrong. So I thought MasterChef was, for some reason, I thought it was more recent than your pageantry stuff. So.
Well, technically, yes and no, because, if I give you the timeline, I did Miss Cambodian American in 2016. I did MasterChef in 2018. And then right after MasterChef, I did Miss Asian North America. And then I got placed as Miss Asian Las Vegas. And then 2019, I'm currently Miss Global Cambodia.
Congratulations to those achievements, That's amazing.
Thank you.
How'd you feel when you get the crown and stuff? Like,
honestly, it's funny because I wanted to place as Miss Asian North America. So I was kind of heartbroken when I got crowned, third place. But in the end, it's still a sense of accomplishment. And, I still got to do all the work that I wanted to do with the organization and with volunteering. So it's all still very fulfilling.
Awesome. And all your family and friends were all supportive of that?
Oh yeah. They all all of my coworkers came to the pageant, cheered me on. Literally, anytime I stepped foot on the stage, the whole place was like, yeah, Janie. And you can tell because when I walked off, everyone's like, Janie. everyone's here for you. And I was just like, yeah, but that's the reason why I got Miss People's Choice that year also, because I had the most people in the crowd. But and it was funny too. And I'm so grateful that they came because they actually had work that day. And so they literally came and then dipped out right as soon as they could just to make it to work on time. Wow. That was very sweet of them.
That's awesome. So after all this, you started making YouTube cooking tutorials as Vegas Vixen in the Kitchen. I think it was after the Gordon Ramsay thing.
Yeah. So after MasterChef and after the pageant, the person my friend James, who was my sponsor for Miss Asian North America, who films a lot of content and stuff like that, he came to me and was like, okay, I think we should do like a YouTube channel for you and like you cook and this and that. And I'm like, okay, yeah, like that sounds great. Then we didn't do it, or we didn't go through with it for a while. And then finally I was just like, you know what? What do I have to lose? I think that's my motto. What do I have to lose?
I like that. I like
and
that.
So we did it. And then, not knowing if it was going to be successful or not or anything like that. But I just did it because, I enjoy cooking. And honestly, like, it's just nice to be able to show someone how to make something. And I think there's so many different ways to make a dish, So like, I think every family has their way. For example, when I posted my, Lok Lak episode, oh my God, I had so many critiques. Somebody's like, oh my gosh, your tomatoes cut too thick. Oh my God, you put onion? My mom doesn't put onion. Oh, your lettuce looks old. Oh, that's not how you make Lok Lak. That's far from whatever. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, okay. But I was just like, and, I'm very, very like polite and very nice about, commenting back. And I try to comment to everyone who says something. So I'm always just like, that's great. I prefer my way, like, my Lok Lak this way. And I appreciate your input, but this is how I like it. Not saying that this is how you should make it. You can always just use my recipe as a guide and then pick and choose what you like about it and then switch it up however you want, And I do that myself. Like when I want to make something that I haven't made before, I look at least 5 to 6, different recipes of the same thing to see what I like about each one. And then I kind of pick and choose what I like about each recipe. And then I make it my own. So, like I'm not going to sit up here and be like, oh, that's wrong. How many ways is there to make spaghetti? You know what I mean?
Right. And so, I think you put in your, like in a disclaimer, at least it's like how you make it, like, it's not like you're saying this is the authentic way to do it. And this is how you're supposed to make it. So
yeah,
I totally get what you're saying, like, especially like, different parents have their own style of making Lok Lak too, I've seen.
And honestly, like who doesn't like love their parents cooking? You know what I mean? Right. And who doesn't prefer their mom's whatever or their dad's this, you know what I mean? Like I can go to a restaurant and order, let's say, tapahok, right? And then I'll be like, oh, it's not that great because it doesn't taste like my mom's. But that's just normal because that's what you grew up with. That's what you like. I always moms, take...
Right? Huh? You're always going to be biased to moms. No one makes better food than
mom. But I always take those comments with a grain of salt. And I'm always just like, well, this is why, this is how I make it. And I always find like a nice way to like comment back just because I want to acknowledge that I read their comment.
Right. Yeah, there's always going to be some people that's going to say something about it.
Yeah. And then sometimes it's like, okay, this person is just like hating.
Yeah. So people, some people follow you to hate. I get a lot of hate comments all the time. So I just I'm used to it. But, I feel like, not everybody deserves a reply too. So some people just want to instigate or just start,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's crazy.
Watch out for those guys too.
That kind of goes back to during when I was on MasterChef, I got a lot of crazy followers and a lot of people messaging me, a lot of people trying to video chat me, and a lot of people send me crazy stuff. And I was like, Jesus, I can't imagine if I got on or stayed on the show longer. Like, it was crazy. And then like when I wouldn't respond to them, they would say all these crazy mean things. And I was just like, whoa.
What was the craziest DM that you got?
So I think this guy, obviously is a guy, wrote me and I just ignored it. And then I ignored I ignored him like 3 times. And I remember it was like Father's Day and I posted a picture with my dad and all this stuff. And then I went to sleep and I woke up to this message that was crazy. And he wrote it on my like actual post in the comments. And he was just like, he must be so proud of his daughter who, you know, and he said all these explicit things. And I was just like, what the heck? And I was furious. Like my blood was boiling and I wanted to like, not gonna lie, I wanted to cuss him out. But instead I just wrote, I was like, you know, because I ignored your message and whatnot, you find it okay to say this to me. You don't even know me. And I was like, and who even raised you? Like, you know what I mean? And I forgot what I said to him, but I was just like, does this make you feel more like a man? Like for you to like put somebody else down? I'm not following, you know? And I was just like, and I was like, I'm going to really pray for you. But I took everything out of me to like not go off because I'm just like, what?
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I get the weirdest. I don't get any weird messages now, thankfully. But I still get like funny comments on like YouTube, and it's funny because I don't even respond. I like for those ones I don't respond. I think some guy in my Dynamite Muscles video, he's like, "Damn, those look juicy. Those muscles do too," or something he said. And I was like, "Ew." And someone commented back in my honor and was like, "You're a pig." And I was just like, whoa, it was just crazy. But yeah.
So what projects are you working on now? Are you plan to make some more tutorials? Because that's what I'm waiting on. I subscribe to your channel. I hit the bell for notifications on all notifications because I'm waiting on the next recipe because I definitely need
I know. Like you requested Clear Set Go. I remember that.
Yes.
I don't know when I'm going to film again just because I don't have a film crew anymore. You know, like they're in Vegas. So I am going to have to figure out how to film it myself. And then I have to figure out, like, I can't say Vegas Vixen in the kitchen anymore because I'm in Austin. So I don't know, like, what's next yet. And to be frank, I'm trying to get full control of my channel. So I don't know how that's going to go either. But for the most part, I've been thinking about opening my own food truck, because there's a huge food truck culture in Austin. And so I've been, you know, pondering that a lot. And so I don't know, like, I mean, compared to Vegas, Austin is booming right now. And a lot of companies are coming here. For instance, Tesla, Apple, Google, I think is here. And I'm missing some, Amazon. So, you know, there's all these people moving here and all this stuff that's happening. So I feel like it's a great opportunity to start something. And like I said, what do I have to lose?
I think you would make a killing with a food truck. The food truck culture is popping too. Like I'm from the Northwest, so like I don't know if you've been to Oregon, they have Cartlandia, and like it's like a whole food truck culture. And I think you'll do well, especially if you're doing like something different. Like if you do, I don't know if you want to plan on doing Khmer food. Like I think Psycho Checkout would sell just that and chitto and some rice.
Honestly,
keep it simple.
Honestly, I don't know like if I want to do Cambodian because it's such a niche, and I don't know if people are going to be really into it because I Googled like Cambodian food out here, and there was a Cambodian restaurant, but they closed down. So I'm like, I wonder if it's because people just didn't know. Because, you know, I think Cambodian cuisine is very underrated. Like when people are Asian, they think Chinese, they think Thai, you know what I mean? Or like, there's not a Korean barbecue place out here. So, you know, like I got to find ways to capitalize.
Yeah, so but Texas is pretty big, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, it's different because I know a lot of people are like, wait, but Texas has great food. And I'm like, yeah, no, they do. But I think all the like really, really good Asian food is probably in Houston. And then like in Austin is a lot of barbecues because I'm still trying to find a good pho place. I haven't figured out like which Asian spots are like the spots. So slowly but surely I'll figure it out. What else would I be working on? No, I think that's the thing. I want to do a food truck, and then I want to probably put out more content and then figure out whether like the future of my channel.
Yeah.
But I think I'll update you guys no matter what, and then you'll see. And like you said, you clicked on a notification, so you'll see when I post something. Yeah. And I promise you, I'll do the Please Let Go for you.
Yes. Yeah. Take your time. I mean, I'm rooting for you. Definitely want to see you win. You know, and you got my full support. Whatever you do, I know you're gonna. You know, I know you're gonna do well. I believe in you, and I think you're gonna do well. Whatever you choose to do. So.
Oh, that's great. I really
hear your story.
That. It's my pleasure.
Do you have a TikTok? Have you thought about like doing cooking tutorials on TikTok?
I just refuse to get TikTok because I don't want to get hooked on it. I don't want to be,
Right.
like on my phone all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And like everyone's like, Janie, get a TikTok. But then it's like, on the news, they're trying to ban it. So I don't know. But honestly, I think I'm going to really explore with IGTV. And then because my whole thing is I like doing content that is like, 5 to 6 minutes, easier to watch, like kind of boom, 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 the steps to do it. And then like the dish, like I don't want to bore you with just like talking all the time and whatever. So, like that's my plan. But I don't foresee TikTok in my future.
Yeah. But, I mean, IG has Reels now. It's like their version of TikTok, Reels of it. So I see already people
I've seen it. So yeah.
It's a cool concept.
That's probably what I would do because I already have Instagram.
Yeah, just stick to IG. I think IG's solid. It's a very solid platform. One of my go-tos. And IGTV, I'll be tuning in. So Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Texas is where you're at.
Yes.
Is it going to be long term? Do you see yourself living there for a while, or is it you don't know? You can't predict the future.
I honestly don't know how long I would be living here, but I do think at least a few years. I don't know if I'm going to be laying down roots. I can't say that yet, but I know for sure it's going to be quite some time before I move again because I don't like moving.
I feel you. Moving.
I realize that because I hate unpacking.
Yay, right? That's the word.
Yeah.
I'm glad you all moved from Vegas to Texas. Was that all road trip? All road trip with trucks?
No. So I did a pod, and I don't know. Are you familiar with pods?
I'm not familiar. Maybe briefly tell the people because it might be like a Central American thing.
So pods is like a shipping container, and they drop off the container at your house. You pack it up with all your stuff, close it, lock it, and then they pick it up and they bring it to your next destination. So it was perfect for me because I wasn't trying to deal with driving a U-Haul with my car on a trailer, behind it. So it was less stressful. But then I made the huge mistake of not tying anything down, thinking that everything was secured. And I don't know what they did when they like lifted my container, but it looked like they just flipped it over and flipped it back. Because then all my stuff was like ridiculous. Damaged. But if done right, super convenient. A lot of people have told me they loved it, but yes, because then once you complain about damages, they're going to blame you because you were the one who packed it. So beware. But pods is great. Pricey, great.
Cool. So like I have these pod decks. I forgot to use them. I just got these. They're like interview cards that I just got in the mail, and they're one of my sponsors. And I think it's pretty much interview questions to make your podcast more interesting. So would you mind answering a couple questions off here just to end it on a positive note? If you could send a message to the entire world, what would you say in 30 seconds?
Ooh, I would just say, if you can choose to be anything, why not choose to be kind?
I love that.
The easiest thing to do. Well, because there's so much hate in this world right now, like so much open hate. I mean, I feel like racism has been an issue, forever, but it's just even bigger now, like all around, the hate crimes against Asians because of COVID, Black Lives Matter, how people, who are against Black Lives Matter, don't see the importance of it. It's just a lot. And so it's like, when you can choose to be anything, why not choose to be kind?
Right.
Simple.
I totally agree. At the end of the day, it's humanity, be a good person. Also, another question. What would be your best day ever?
Ooh, my best day ever. This is hard. I feel like my best day ever would consist of, a nice beach and an amazing meal. I think that would be the best day ever. My amazing meal will probably be a Wagyu steak with foie gras on top and a nice red wine. Yep. And then watching the sunset on the beach in a hammock.
That sounds like a good day. Best day ever for sure.
Yeah,
all right.
It's just paradise.
Okay, one more. You have $100K. You have to donate or create a charity. What would you do?
I had 100K to create a charity, hands down, I would do, I would probably split it because, like I said, I'm an advocate for anti-bullying. I would do an anti-bullying program, or instead of building my own, I would just probably contribute to one that's already existing. And then I grew up going to the temple a lot with my grandmother. So I'd probably donate half of that to the temple back at home in Oakland. Because I did do a fundraiser for them a couple of years ago. I think it was like probably 2016 also. When my grandma was sick, I did a fundraiser in her honor because she wanted to see the roof and the construction be done for the temple. And so I just did a GoFundMe to help along with that. I raised about $6,900. So that was nice. But
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I mean, the temple is somewhat, and it's come a long way, but it's still not done yet. So, because I think what they're shooting for, they want to do like a giant, pagoda and all this stuff. And that's going to cost a lot. And plus I think they have to wait for a permit too. So, but those are the two things I would do with the money.
Awesome. That's a great answer. And thank you for being my guest on Chluy Talk. And I would love to have you back in the future, a follow-up or something. So
yeah, I would love to be back. Thank you for having me.
So are you still going to have the Vegas Vixen in the kitchen, or are you going to be like Boston and Austin? What's going down?
Ooh, I like that a lot.
Yo, you
wow. I was like thinking of like, what's a clever name? But I like that a lot. I don't know yet. Stay tuned for sure.
Cool. Are you gonna make a new channel, or just gonna change the name? That's I definitely want to be in tune. We're friends now, so I follow you, and
yeah, of course.
Anything you need me to share, I support everything you do, and it's a blessing to be your friend.
Thanks. It's a blessing to have you in my life, and I'm so happy that I did this. And like I said, whenever I go to New York, you got to take me to all the good places. So
have you been here yet?
I have. I've been a couple of times, and the only places I've eaten there, I've had Apudo. I've had, what's that Italian restaurant that's like a Michelin star, but it's like super old school.
I'm not sure. I've probably never been there, but I've been to Vapiano. That's probably that.
It's I don't know. They only do cash only. It's like old.
It's old?
What is it called?
I don't know. They have so many Italian options in New York that. Huh?
I just can't remember what it was called, but I know that they do like family style, big portions, cash only, and it's like probably mob people go there, but it's like real authentic, like real Italian like place. What else have I had there that I can remember? I don't know. I can't think right now.
Yeah, New York has some great food, and definitely, and Spring Roll Fever. We're like kind of neighbors. She's not too far. She's like a few neighborhoods over. So like definitely, we would love to host you and just
I told her I was like,
we do like monthly meetups with our little Cambodian New York groups, and we just try to eat out. But since this pandemic, we kind of like delayed everything. Like
I told her I was like, okay, whenever I visit, let's just like go eat everywhere and then just film everything.
Yes,
and just, it's like us just eating out and just having fun and whatever. She's like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah, she's mad cool. Yeah, mad cool. Like, I met her last year. I have a lot of respect for her. She's been in the game for a long time, and she's always showed me love, and probably one of like my first Khmer friends out here in New York City. I didn't know she lived out here until like last year. Like I always thought she was.
Yeah, I thought you guys knew each other like really long.
No, I think we just a year. It's been a year since we've been friends, like, hanging out and stuff. So
yeah,
it's cool. Like, the Khmer community, we're tight knit. So it's like, so it's like,
I like that.
I just watched your interview with her. So it's like, that's dope. So I'm like, I got to switch up my questions. I don't want to ask the same thing, but it's dope. Like your story is your story, which is cool. So
yeah,
like, it's cool to hear that, the process between like the behind the scenes of the entertainment industry, like how reality show, it's real what they say about it. You got to, have that personality, or just put on that act on like how they want you to be. So that's real. So it's good to know,
extra, and you got to stand out like crazy.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Because questions like a lot of people maybe like the youngins that might have like Hollywood dreams. They want to be actors and actors. They're gonna know. It's good to hear firsthand that you've been through kind of like on TV. So like I think it's good. It's good to see like firsthand how the industry is. Definitely looking forward to what the future brings for Jannie
For
Lam.
both of us. For both of us.
For both of us.
Yeah. You know,
Right.
your podcast is going to kick off, all these things. So, no, all
Thank you so
positively.
much. Yes. And any shout outs you want to give? Any shout outs?
I don't know. I mean, I guess you can probably catch me in the next couple of weeks on Bottle Girl Diaries with my friend Cindy. She wanted to interview me. So her channel is on YouTube, and she basically talks to and does interviews with girls who were in the nightlife industry who have now gone on to better things. And then, and if you're interested in ASMR and mukbangs, go follow and subscribe to my friend Lena's channel, Lena Beans. And I'm actually on one of her episodes where I cook and teach you how to make stir-fry crab, and then we eat it. So
The
yeah.
recent one, right? The recent one you put out? Okay.
Yeah, and I think
How do you spell it? Lena Beans? I'm gonna
Lena
subscribe.
Beans. So LYNABEANS.
I'll
I had
put
to
it
like
right on the
think about
screen.
that.
So Lena
But yeah.
Beans on YouTube.
Yes, I think that's her channel name. I can't remember for sure, but yes. So yeah.
Awesome. Cool. And thank you for being my guest, and I'll see you on Instagram.
Go on Instagram, and maybe after this pandemic is over, see you in New York.
Yes, see you in New York or wherever in Texas. You gotta show us.
Give me a shout. Let me know.
Cool. So stay strong, stay healthy, and stay positive. Keep being you. I think you're beautiful, you're intelligent, and you're gonna go places. I have no doubt about it. And you got my support 100%. Moroy Peroy.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, this is Janie, and this is Chluy Talk.